A very active pattern will continue through much of the rest of January and into February here. You can see it depicted by the GFS, quite active, right? And, you know, as we get further out, the models, of course, lose a lot of resolution and a lot of certainty, but repeated pushes of cold air are likely in the short to midterm east of the Rockies. Okay, and welcome to my video this morning. I've had multiple videos. It's snowing moderate to heavy right now in my area, which is really cool. And anyway, I'm a meteorologist here in Warner Robins, Georgia. And if you haven't already, like my video, subscribe, share it with your friends, and let's get started. As far as current hazards go, we have a lot going on, at least in the south here, right? And we got this high surf advisory just issued along the west coast of Florida. But for the south, we'll start in the south here. Winter storm warnings in parts of Georgia, southwest Georgia to northern southwest Alabama to northern Florida here, the Panhandle. Winter weather advisories in the surrounding areas. Excuse me. Special weather statements, for light to moderate snow, and to the west, to the east here in the Statesboro, maybe some light snow as well, with a special weather statement here. Moving to the north into the northeast, we got winter weather advisories. Winter weather advisories for tomorrow. This expires in 12 hours, but for the potential snow coming up here. So not winter storm warning criteria, but impactful nonetheless. Winter storm warning along the lee side of the Lake Ontario here. Excuse me, this is Lake Erie. My bad. So special weather statement ongoing here in parts of southern Ohio. Moving out to the upper Midwest into the northern high plains. Blizzard warning here in Grand Forks, the Fargo, North Dakota area, surrounded by winter weather advisories and wind advisories. And there's this boundary here where the high winds will be out west here. So wherever those winds pick up and you have snow, we can overlay it with snowfall here. You see that there? So any blowing snow or snow squalls will lead to dangerous travel conditions today. So out west, of course, we have stagnant air and potential freezing fog as well, with the cold temperatures in the valleys. And further to the south here, we have freeze warnings in the southern Texas as well. So as far as current temperatures, it's cooling off quite rapidly here in middle Georgia. When I woke up this morning, it was like 40. Now it's some nearly 35 right here. So cooling off really rapidly here. And that's just cold air pushing. You see the Arctic boundary with the Arctic cold here in the single digits, negative single digits. And that's not, that's the air temperature, right? With winds and things, with the winds, it's going to be wind chill factors are going to be brutal, right? But just to the west here, you see there's a boundary here. Warmer temps to the west. Some colder temps out here out west in the Colorado Rockies, even along the coastline of California in the 40s today. The Northeast all below freezing, with the exception of maybe southern New Jersey into those areas. So it's actually cooler here in the south than it is in points to the north here. So very interesting setup. You see, you zoom out, the Arctic cold is like poised to keep pushing to the south here in the coming days. So have to be mindful of this here. So here's a 15-day temperature outlook for middle Georgia. So, cold, below normal temperatures here up until about the middle of next week. Then approaching near normal temperatures, but then falling again, at least according to the European ensemble members here. Maybe warm up a little bit towards the beginning of the month of February. But this is the trend we've been seeing, guys. So kind of a roller coaster, but not unexpected this time of year. So here's a graphic for the key messages for the Northern Plains snow squalls for today. strong cold fronts pushing through this area, right? So wind gusts to 50, 60 mile per hour forecast over this area today. And you can see where the winter weather advisories and winter storm, yeah, excuse me, blizzard warnings are. Extensive blowing snow, North Dakota, Minnesota. Okay, and there's a lot of snowpack up here already, so um, the snow will blow around like crazy, even if there's not a lot of precipitation like snowfall, right? Near visibility with the squalls and blizzard conditions, right, at the same time. So, um, it's very important that if you have to drive, that you pull off to the side, make sure you put on your flashers and wait it out, okay, if a snow squall comes through. Don't put your life at risk and others at risk on the roads, okay? Be careful out there today. So when we look at the HRRR model, this model goes out 18 hours, and this is a good short range model. I don't like to use it past 18 hours because it tends to amplify errors in the initial conditions, right? So that makes sense given it's run every hour, right? So, but the HRRR ingests current radar data and trends here, right? So this is as of 10 a.m., right? This may be a little bit slow initialization here. I don't know. Anyway, moving through time. See what it does here with this snowfall. It cuts it off very quickly, which it may be too quick here. I don't know. But I think maybe the snowfall to the northeast is underdone as well. You can see right along the coastline here what it does with this precip, heavy snow along the coast here. So yeah, that's quite some intense snowfall bands here. All right, and as it moves out to sea here, you have snow all along the in the Boston and those areas as well. So we'll have to see how this plays out, right? But yeah, so quite an intense band of snow here possible in the end of this model run. And where this ends up setting up is really important, right? So we'll see what happens. So we'll go on to snowfall totals next with this. So here's the snowfall total amount expected with the NAM zoomed out. I mean the HRR zoomed out 3 kilometer, right? So this looks like it's run like it's a 60 hour, every 6 hours with the snowfall totals, right? So you see his highest snowfall totals are in New Jersey, um, parts of New York, Boston area, and points south here. So, and into middle Georgia here as well. So, and of course in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, right? We move through time with this. Total amounts, of course. Let's see. Let's do snow total here. All right, so snow totals. This is the latest 18Z run, right? So, I mean, 18-hour run is 11Z. This is as of Monday at 12 midnight. So, if we go back to 6Z, we can go further out with these snowfall totals like we were. All right. See what the highest snowfall totals are. New York and points to the east here and points south likely. And of course in the Great Lakes with enhancement from the lakes and lake effect snow. And some snow out here in the Midwest as well. High plains, east side of the Rockies here. So this is 48 hours out. So Tuesday at 1 a.m. This is the snowfall totals. So we're going to zoom into the Northeast next, and then the Midwest, and then the Plains. So for the Northeast, generally 3 to 5 inches of snow expected through Tuesday morning. Out to the west here, northwest, you see along the lakes here, Lake Huron, I think it is, highest amounts here possible, 11, 12, 13, maybe 20 inches of snow here. And along the lee side of the lakes here, um, just depending where you're at, between 4 and just a lot of different variations and potential snowfall amounts here. As far as the central U.S., we're expecting the highest totals you can see here along the lakes. I think it's Lake Huron, like I said, the lee side of the lakes here, not the windward side or the southern side, really just the eastern side, right? Um, so possibly 20, 25 inches of snow. So in the higher accumulations here, right? So a lot of snowfall in the coming days. And if you back this up here, this is until Sunday evening when this picks up, into Monday, into Tuesday, right? Out west here, not high snowfall totals, but because of the high winds and things like that, any snow that's blowing around will be um, highly impactful out here. So after our southeast snow, excuse me, what's going to happen here? Well, like this afternoon, this snowfall in from west to east in Georgia, South Carolina, and filling in here looks to be in North Carolina as well, and into Maryland, Virginia. But initially, we have this initial push of snow here that's ongoing right now in the Northeast, right? Um, as this moves to the north, you see intense snowfall rates possible all along the eastern seaboard here, and also snow on the backside here of the system. And let me bring my pen up. I haven't put this up here. Here it is. So, um, yeah, I mean, really, we could have some really intense bands of snow here right along the coast. Um, and especially Long Island and the coastal areas. I mean, there's no real possibility here of rainfall, except maybe on the outset here, as the system moves to the north, interacts with colder air to the west here, and heavy snow bands will set up. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. This moves through, right? And this model goes out 60 hours, so that system moves out. And maybe the potential for some more light snow here overnight into the morning, with maybe a mid-level feature moon through there. Lake effect snow ongoing here, and streamers moving to the east here, right? And still you see the lake effect snow bands setting up, most intense bands along looks like Lake Erie here, um, through Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon. So if we spread this out some, right, and we go back here, we show the snowfall along the eastern seaboard, and other, excuse me, snow squalls move through the flow, and that's what's going to be going on today as well in the northern U.S. here. All right, snowfall moves to the northeast. That disturbance moves over the lakes and enhanced snowfall as it does, right? And then you have another system diving further to the south, south out of Canada here, which could lead to some more blizzard conditions possibly here. So, ongoing intense snowfall, maybe not heavy, but cold temperatures, wind chills, just brutal here. So what does the future pattern look like for the continental U.S.? We kind of talked about that with the Climate Prediction Center outlooks, but I'm going to review a couple different models here. The GFS and the European, right? GFS, we bring in through Monday, 7 a.m., 10 a.m. You see where the boundary is here. This is 500 millibars, mid-levels, right? The atmosphere. This gives us a good indication of the flow here, right? So when we start off this, jet streams digging pretty deeply here. You see how far south it goes, right? Mid-levels. That kind of lists out a little bit, but we have this general northwest flow, right, with a ridge out west. This continues. And we have lobes of this mid-level feature is semi-permanent for a little while, then slides to the east. You can see it builds back in with a trough along the east coast and some ridging building back down the lee side of the Rockies, right? And ridging out west. This ridging slides further to the east in the longer term, right? So we're going to have to see how this plays out, at least according to this model. We may get some warmer temperatures as this pattern changes, right? Because the high pressure is not as pronounced here out west, right? But what you're seeing here is a return to that high pressure out west in the long term, right? At the mid levels. Made another dip in the jet stream here further out, right? So atmospheric river may be returning towards to the west coast here in the long term. Okay, so see another dip in the jet stream further out with this pattern. So now if we switch to the European, let's take a look at it. 500 millibars. Latest run here. Let's see, it's 1 a.m. today, so moving through time. We got the 500 millibar mid-level flow, mid-level cold air aloft here, up to the north. Pretty well depicted by both the European and the GFS, although the European is a high resolution model here. And this doesn't run any further out. So this is through Saturday, 1 a.m. So going back to the previous run, zonal flow is kind of setting up here, right? In the short term, potentially another 500 millibar cold air aloft settles back into the north here, but does it push further to the south? Hard to say at this point, but you see the pattern is very similar to what's going on today, at least up until the end of the month, with the ridging keep building, the cold air keeps building down to the south here. So when this pattern sets up like this, you get cold air dipping down to the east of the Rockies. It tends to filter in, you know, more like this way, right? But if you got maybe you got a high pressure buildup here at the low levels, you get some CAD wedging here, and we'll go over the low levels next. So this graphic is a good depiction of the temperatures and whether they're above or below normal. And you can see this is the European model, right? So the darker greens and like blues here are below normal, and the darker reds here are above normal, right? So this gives you a good idea of above and below normal temperatures here, right, and where they're moving. Generally, pushes of colder air just repeatedly moving through the east, maybe some warmer than normal temperatures briefly for the northern high plains and the central U.S. and parts of the Midwest here. but repeated intrusions of cold air, and you can see further out here towards about 7 or 8 days from now, 6 days from now, very cold, maybe 30, 40 degrees below normal here, up to the north. That kind of stays up there, right? You have this boundary setting up, maybe warmer than normal temps further to the south here, right? And based on this, we may have the potential for severe weather here. We'll have to see how this ends up playing out, right? But cold air pushes down again to the east of the Rockies. Cold air just keeps coming to the eastern U.S., right? Wow. So you can see out west here how warm it is. I mean, if this plays out, guys, I mean, geez, warmer than normal temperatures out west here. So this may mean an end to the bring an end to the the cold temperatures. Is this just to the east here, guys, right? But um, let's shift over to the GFS and look at this as well now. So we're going to move the GFS through this a little bit, right? And we see repeated intrusions of cold air with it as well. With maybe some brief warm-ups in the south and the northeast, right? But cold air keeps pulling up to the north here. And the cold air comes back down again. And the GFS really wants to bring some cold air further to the south here around the 25th, which is 7 days from now. So we have the potential here for some really cold temperatures all the way down to the Gulf Coast here. All right. So yeah, this is let's compare it to the European real quick here. I'm gonna duplicate this and go to the European. Forgive me here. European. Go to the amount. Let's see where this is here. 26th of January. Compare it to this. Yeah, the European has quite a different take on this to the GFS. So when we get this far out, even here, there's quite a bit of uncertainty about this. It looks like it doesn't want to push the cold air as far to the south here. GFS does have a tendency to have a cold bias, so I would lead towards the European with this, but we'll see how it plays out. So as far as the future goes, we're going to compare the GFS and European ensemble as far as surface features, precipitation type um, in the coming days. So we have our exiting system to the northeast, and the GFS is really keeping this flow zonal for a little bit here, right? But we have this continued kind of troughiness along the lee side of the Rockies, with boundaries setting up here into the northeast, the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley here, right? Maybe some potential snowfall in that area. This is Thursday, right? 4 days out. So depends on what happens with this trough. If it dips further to the south, which it might do, we could get some a potential snowfall further to the south. You see the Appalachians are in on this. The trailing edge is above freezing here, so not expecting snowfall there. Lifts out. And you have another overrunning type event here. Potential, what we're looking at maybe another surface feature with this a trough diving down here, right? So we go to 500 millibar heights. We maybe see that happening, right? So freezing rain, snow along this boundary here, okay? That moves along the east coast, maybe a low pressure building out west here. And you have more moisture may be streaming in from the west here, with an overrunning type event again. Freezing rain, snow here, right? Look at that. It kind of lifts off to the north, kind of fizzles out here with the GFS. And it's hinting at maybe some more southern stream energy getting involved here. You can see the GFS is wanting to build a high pressure a little further to the east here, right? And that moves out. You can see warmer temps with a real steep dip in the jet stream when you get towards the end of this, right? And that's what we were looking at with the colder temps. And you see um, what happens here with this. So we'll have to see how this plays out in the coming days. So we compare the GFS to the European. Here's the European, right? European moves the system out to the northeast, and they're pretty much similar at this point, right? You got this southern stream system moving back in here potentially with snow in the Appalachians here. The GFS does tend to be colder, so we'll see how this plays out, right? But we could have some snow in the Appalachians. But northern stream flow is continuing with this, right? The European wants to bring a little bit more moisture further to the south and east here with this. So we're going to have to see if we get a similar setup like we had today. All right. It's snowing out here at my house, and I'm loving it, guys, right now. So quite exciting. Heavy snow, moderate to heavy snow going with big flakes right now. So, yeah, for people who are traveling, not so much fun, but for me to watch, it's quite exciting, guys. So, um, yeah, moving through this, right? Got off track there. All right, so like the GFS did, we got some maybe southern stream energy interacting with a boundary here, right? General zonal flow. And look at this here, some potential freeze and rain event overrunning. And this has been highlighted for quite a while here. So, you know, where this sets up, and it looks like the European wants to do like a CAD wedge here at the surface a little bit. So that may be a player with this setup as well, or this boundary sets up freeze and rain, sleet, snow, okay? And this is just not a forecast, this is a general outlook, right? More southern stream energy maybe gets involved here further out, but really not, well, you get towards the end of the month, we're looking at potential some maybe snowfall here, but hard to say at this point. But get further out here, maybe in our nor'easter, then it's depicting a pretty deep dip in the jet stream here again on the lee side of the Rockies. Look at that trough here. Depending on where this sets up, we could be set up with another southern snowstorm. That'd be pretty crazy if we did, right? But um, this kind of setup supports that, right? So we'll have to see. Eventually that trough lifts out, right? Maybe you got high pressure building in further to the west, high pressure to the east here. And this is 2nd of February. Highly uncertain at this point, but I wanted to show you both model runs. So yeah, so we got a lot to talk about in the coming days, and for right now, we got some heavy snow going on. I'm gonna enjoy it while it lasts, and hope you have a great day. So here's the data 3 to 7 U.S. hazardous outlook. So you can see where the coldest temperatures are projected to be, right? This is issued yesterday, 2:30 p.m. Will be issued again today. Cold temps all up in the northern U.S. into the Appalachians along the eastern seaboard with heavy snow possible. You can see these two areas overlap here. Heavy snow possible up to the north here along the Great Lakes here on the 20th as well. So let's move on the 18 to 14 day Climate Prediction Center U.S. hazards outlook. We have the risk of heavy precip here along the west coast of the U.S., northwest coast here. You can see that on the map, right? So right here. So that's that. As far as heavy snow, we're showing a slight risk here, the 25th to the 27th. In the northeast quarter, mid-Atlantic, okay, into parts of the Great Lakes, upper Midwest, the plains to the, I don't know, the mountainous terrain of Idaho there, Montana, Wyoming, and the Cascades here as well. Moving on to winds, we have a large risk of high winds, the 25th to the 27th here. All on the Gulf Coast, the Mid-Atlantic, the Southeast, all up to the Northeast, the 25th to the 27th, and a slight risk of high winds further to the west there, in the Mountain West up to the Northwest, like I said, the 25th to the 29th. Moving on to temperatures here, we looking like really cold weather is really going to be taking hold up here in the plains to the Midwest and point south even into the deep south, the southeast, the northeast. So east of the Rockies in general for the end of the month look to be below normal here. Yeah, so as far as the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, below normal temps further to the north are very likely. Further to the south, not as likely, but still either near or below average here, with the exception of the southwest here, up into the I don't know, Intermountain West here, all along the Gulf Coast, looking to be above normal. But Alaska, Hawaii, Alaska, depending where you're at, either below or above. This ridge out west is helping contribute to this northwest flow here. All right, so above normal temps looks like it's pretty likely here in Hawaii, as well as the Aleutian Island chain. Moving on to the 6 to 10 day precip outlook, looking to be above to near normal depending where you're out here in the continental U.S., although above normal for a good portion of it, right? So that's good, except for the south, in the California into the southwest, maybe below, and up into the upper Midwest, maybe below to near normal here. So moving to Hawaii, above normal, precip chances likely here. Alaska, above to the north, with below normal further south, and below to above to near normal in Aleutian Island chain here. So going a little further out, the temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center for a day to 14. This is the end of the month here. Still east of the Rockies, cold, below normal here. So west of the Rockies, above normal. Interestingly enough, up to Alaska looks to be near below normal temperatures, and Hawaii is above, and Aleutian Island chain, depending where you're at, near normal to below to above here. The 8 to 14 day precip outlook, drying out for a good portion of the eastern U.S. into the central U.S. here, with maybe above normal precip chances further south here. So Hawaii, not Hawaii, South Texas, Florida, along the eastern seaboard here, the extreme southeast coast, and the Pacific Northwest looks to be picking up again with precip chances towards the end of this period. Near normal to above to below in Hawaii, near normal, Alaska, excuse me, Hawaii near normal to above to near normal to below in the Aleutian Island chain here as well. All right, so quite a difference from previous where it's been dry out west, so looking to get some more precip here in the northwest in the coming days towards the end of the month. As far as the extended period goes, January 31st to February 13th, this was issued yesterday. Expecting colder temps, colder than normal temps up, like continuing here, excuse me, for the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, and into the upper Midwest, equal chances of above or below in between, and above out west. This continuing trend out here. Alaska, equal chances to above, to further in South Alaska and Southeast Alaska, equal chances above or below normal temps at Aleutian Islands, and above normal likely in Hawaii.